New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you. On Tuesday, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam granted 7 black men who were executed for an incident with a white woman back in 1951 posthumous pardon after pleas for mercy from their families, and as the case gained international attention as an example of how the death penalty was used almost exclusively for black offenders. According to the Associated Press, the pardons came after Northam met with some 12 descendants of the men and their advocates who cried upon learning of the news at Northam announcements. The 7 men, most in their late teens or early 20s, were Francis DeSales Grayson, Frank Hairston Jr., Howard Lee Hairston, James Luther Hairston, Joe Henry Hampton, Booker Milner, John Calvin Taylor, and this is from AP. The Martinsville 7, as the men became known, were all convicted of an incident with a 32-year-old Ruby Stroud Floyd, a white woman who had gone to a predominantly black neighborhood in Martinsville, Virginia on January 8, 1949 to collect money for clothes she had sold. 4 of the men were executed in Virginia's electric chair on February 2nd of 1951. 3 days later, the remaining 3 were also electrocuted. All of them were tried by an all-white jury. It was the largest group of people executed for a single victim crime in Virginia's history. At the time, the offense was a capital offense, but Northam stated Tuesday that the death penalty for the offense was applied almost exclusively to black people from 1908, when Virginia began using the electric chair, to 1951. State records showed that all 45 people executed for the offense were black. The pardons do not address the guilt or innocence of the men, but Northam stated that the pardons are an acknowledgement that they did not receive due process and received a racially biased death sentence not similarly applied to a white defendant. Quote, "These men are executed because they were black, and that's not right. Their punishment did not fit the crime. They should not have been executed." Northam pointed to several issues he had with the case, including noting that several of the men were under the influence when they were arrested and couldn't read a confession that they signed. None of the men had attorneys with them when they were questioned, and all of the men were convicted and sentenced to death within 8 days. Protesters reportedly called for the White House and the governor's office to grant the men mercy to no avail. Quote, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord." And that was stated by James Walter Grayson, the son of Francis DeSales Grayson, who was one of the 7 who sobbed loudly when Northam told them that he would grant the men pardons. Quote, "It means so much to me. James was 4 when his father was executed. I remember the very day that the police came to the door. He kissed us and they took him away." AP also noted that in December, advocates and descendants of the Martinsville 7 began asking for pardons. And while they didn't argue for the men's innocence, they did point out that the trials offered the men were unfair and punishment was unjust. Quote, "The Martinsville 7 were not given an adequate due process simply for being black. They were sentenced to death for a crime that a white person would not have been executed for, simply for being black, and they were killed by the Commonwealth for simply being black." Northam stated, "This is about righting wrongs. We all deserve a criminal justice system that is fair, equal, and gets it right, no matter who you are or what you look like." All right, this among many others are stories that have to deal with black men being wrongly convicted and executed by way of true American juries. Right? You heard that it was an all-white jury. It only took them about like 8 days or whatever amount of time, a short period of time for them to basically calculate, like, yeah, these black guys did it. Right? Now, very easily in a lot of these incidences, what we find throughout history is that if there was a true American woman that just so happened to walk into a black neighborhood, that would be, in a sense, a setup that other true American males would use in order to cause certain things to transpire in said community so that they can decide to act as violent, as belligerent, as villainous, and as criminal as they would want. In knowing the fact that they would have the protection of the police and the law, and also the courts directly on their side. And they already knew that nobody in the community would go against or convict their own, because everybody would directly be on code and everybody is there for the same purpose, even if they did not directly take part in what specifically took place. So you have these 7 black men who were all executed over the life of a true American woman back in the 40s and the 50s, somewhere during that era. And they didn't say that they had any type of evidence. They just stated that, oh, we saw these black men, that, they were there, she was there, so we're going to put 2 and 2 together, and wow, there goes your answer. And then, decades later, they now come out and say that they were wrong, that these men should not have been executed. Then, in a sense, we apologize without even saying that we really apologize. So then the next question is, where is the person or the persons that took her life? What do they look like? Who is associated with that family? Who's holding on to those secrets? Like I said before, they need to take a fine-tooth comb and they need to go back and look at all of those people. If they're still alive at this moment in time, they need to go back and question them. They need to go back and look at a lot of that stuff, but chances are very great they won't. Why? Because, the governor gave this pardon. So it's like, hey, there's no reason to to go back. I mean, what happened, happened. I mean, it's bad. It shouldn't have happened, but it is what it is. Those are the things that took place during that time, right? So within that pardon, this is the one thing I want people to pay very close attention to. A lot of people like to say that racism, bigotry, and discrimination does not exist in this country. That historically, technically, it never really existed. You might have some variables, but technically it's a fabrication. It's a fallacy. It's something that, black people just imagine, right, in their mind. But what they're saying with this pardon is that, no, we're not going to go back and do the due diligence and the work to basically recover ground and to make up for the wrongs that we committed. We're not going to go back and try to find the actual persons that did this to this woman. We're not going to go back and question any of that. We're not going to go back and question any of that evidence. What happened, happened. We're going to leave it there. That was the past. This is the future. All that basically matters now is that we are acknowledging the wrongdoings. We're not really apologizing, but we're acknowledging the wrongdoings, and we're going to pardon them when it doesn't really matter. When they're not even here to even receive that pardon, when they're not even here to get out of jail and to go visit their family, to see that the world that they basically miss. They're not here for any of that. They're not here for any of that. But like I said before, this is America. This is what America likes to do. Even the judge, I mean, I'm sorry, not the judge, even the governor admitted, he was like, yeah, a lot of, when they deal with the electric chair and things like that, like, yeah, it was aimed more so towards black people. They admitted that. So nobody can sit up here and tell me that a lot of these biases, a lot of this racism, discrimination, a lot of that is not still present here. If they allowed that to happen at one point in time and it's never been corrected, what really makes you think that the court systems and a lot of those people magically clicked on a light and changed their minds and evolved from that point to basically better themselves? They're not. If you got a kid that's going to be bad at the age of 3, he's going to be bad at 7. When he's bad at 7, he's going to be bad at 13. When he's bad at 13, he's going to be bad at 18. When he's bad at 18, it's pretty much over. Because he's going to be on a full-fledged destructive course doing whatever it is that he wants to do, because nobody corrected him during the pivotal moments and times that you could have basically recorrected the course and put that child on some, on a better course. That's not what the judicial system does. That's not what the police the police organizations do. That's not what these communities do, who are a part of putting innocent black men behind bars, locking them up, stealing away their life and their energy, stealing a pivotal individual away from the community that could have been better suited, that could have built things up, that could have invested, that could have added things, that could have laid down blueprints and corrective measures to help fix things. You rob the black community of so many things and then turn around and try to look at us and as if to say like, oh, see, look at you guys. You guys don't even know what to sit up there and do. And like I said, it's a game. Black people, it's a game at the end of the day. It's a game. They'll sit up there and take one thing, and then they'll look at that place and point to where they took something and see, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all can't even sit up there and do this. Y'all can't even sit up there and correct this. But if you didn't take whatever it was that was actually in that spot, maybe we would be on a better course. Maybe we would be able to correct certain things. Maybe we would have more black men and whatnot or whatever in the households, with their kids and different things like that. But it's impossible to basically do that when you've had a long line of a system that was built to basically break down the black family, that was built to basically divide and take the black man directly out of the picture in order to start having a cycle of children, of black children raising other black children, which is detrimental because kids don't even know anything. You have to have somebody with oversight in order to raise a child. You have to have somebody who has lived and gone through those experiences so that they can lay down a corrective courses and measures so that these kids will know exactly where to aim instead of just aiming indiscriminately. Like I said, everybody, needs a target. These kids don't have a target. They're just like aiming in the air instead of aiming directly at a goal, at a, aspiration or different things like that. So like I said, this story encompasses a variety of things, not just the system that is a lie, not just the people that are a lie, not just the police that's a lie, but it's everything. It's everything. Like I said, my condolences to the family. I'm happy that, in a sense, their names are clear, but that'll never give them back, their lives. That'll never give them back that time of, being able to see, his son, like which was stated in the article. One of the young men during the time, the police came to the house to get him when he was 4. That was the last memory that he ever has of his father. The last memory is a group of true American officers coming to his doorstep to take his father away for a crime that he didn't commit and being executed. The reason why they were executed was to hide the truth. That's the end point. That's the reason why more than likely a lot of those black men were executed, was because they didn't want the truth coming out, and they knew that the longer and longer that they basically kept them there, that sooner or later that the truth was going to come to light. So instead of that truth coming out, they're like, all right, we're going to set up this date and we're going to end it right there so that it's a closed case, so that nobody will even want to even choose to look directly at this. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about the story and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.